In this video, we're going to talk about how we can solve equations using something called the square root method. So when we talk about the square root method, we're going to talk about something where we're going to have like x squared equals stuff. We're going to get the x squared term by itself. And remember, we said before, math is all about opposites. The opposite of squaring something is taking the square root of something. But we have to remember when we take the square root, when we choose to take the square root, usually because we have to, then we're going to have a positive and a negative answer. And we always want to simplify the radical if we need to. So let's look at this first example. We have 4x squared minus 720 is equal to 0. So we're going to start by adding 720 to both sides. We want to get that x squared by itself. So we're going to have 4x squared is equal to 720. And then we're going to divide everything by 4. I'm going to do 720 divided by 4 on my calculator off screen, and that's equal to 180. And then we're going to take the square root. Anytime we choose to take the square root, we're going to have a plus and minus. So that's going to be a plus and minus square root of 180. And then we're going to have to think about how we can simplify that radical. So we're going to think about how can we break down 180? Well, 180 is 4 times 45. And 45 is the same thing as 9 times 5. So we're going to think about this as 4 times 9 times 5. Now I'm trying to break it down into perfect squares because I know the square root of 4 and I know the square root of 9. So I really just started with saying, okay, can I divide this by 4? Yes. And then can I divide it by another number? Yes. So I know the square root of 4 is 2, so I'm going to pull that 2 out. I know the square root of 9 is 3. I'm going to pull that out, and that's going to leave a 5 that I cannot take the square root of very easily. So notice when I pulled it out, I multiplied. Okay, everything's multiplied in here, and when I pull things out, it's going to be multiplied too. So this is going to be 6 square root of 5. So if you're using a homework system, you have to be careful. Some homework systems will have a square root math key that you can use to type that in. Other ones you may have to use SQRT. So you may have to do plus or minus 6 SQRT and then 5. So just be aware of that. Let's look at the next one. We have negative 245x squared plus 180 is equal to 0. The goal is to get the x squared by itself. So I'm going to start by subtracting 180. So I have negative 245x squared is equal to negative 180. Then we're going to divide by negative 245. So I'm going to get x squared is equal to about 180 divided by 245. And it looks like that is 36 over 49. So x is going to be the plus and minus square root of 36 over 49. And I got that by typing that in my calculator and using my fraction button to reduce it. So this one's nice because the square root of 36 is nice and the square root of 49 is nice. So when I take the square root of a fraction, I can think about taking the square root of the top, which is 6, and the bottom, which is 7. So my answer would be plus or minus 6/7. Okay, the next one we have 6 times x squared plus 8 is equal to 38. The goal is to solve for x squared. We're going to start by subtracting 8. So we have 6 times x squared is equal to 30. And then we're dividing by 6. So we're going to get x squared is equal to 5. And then we're going to take the square root. And the square root of 5 is not nice, so we're going to leave that exact value. So plus or minus square root of 5. Notice all of these are plus and minus. Okay, and the next one, now we have some kind of group that's squared, and that's equal to 121. So if we want to solve that, we've got the squared term by itself, so I'm just going to recopy the problem here. So then I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So when I take the square root of 7x minus 8, that's going to, the square root and that square is going to cancel out, leaving us with 7x minus 8. And the square root of 121 is plus or minus 11. So we really have two problems to solve here. We're going to have 7x minus 8 is equal to positive 11, or 7x minus 8 is equal to negative 11. So to solve that, I'm going to add 8 to both sides. So I'm going to get 7x is equal to 19. And then I'm going to divide by 7 to get x is equal to 19 over 7. Same thing on the next one. I'm going to add 8. But this time when I add 8, I'm going to get negative 3. And then when I divide by 7, I'm going to get x equals negative 3 over 7. So my answers are 19 over 7 and negative 3 over 7. So the thing to remember here is that I have to get the group squared by itself. I do not want to FOIL that out. It would be easier for me to take the square root of both sides and then solve.